The Senate last night in a vote blocked something that California is trying to do. It already passed the House, just passed the Senate, is going to President Trump's desk. California is trying to mandate that only electric vehicles be sold in the state by 2035. And that's a state law. And the Senate said, nope, you can't do that, which I didn't know that the Senate could do, but apparently any new environmental laws that are passed in the state of California are resorting all the way back to 1970 to the Clean Air Act. And because of that, California laws have to get permission from the EPA, which the Senate can give those waivers out, in order to up the standards higher than the national standard actually is. Well, in this case, the Senate said, well, you don't get that waiver anymore. Pound sand, California. And now liberals in California are all upset. Let's bring our panelists back in. Savannah Hernandez, Jillian Anderson King. Guys, I live in California, unfortunately. I think everybody here even thought this bill was dumb. This law was dumb. Okay, you can't have combustion engines after 2035, which is ridiculous on so many different levels. Jillian, I didn't know the Senate could do this, but I don't know. Do you like the move of Senate Republicans digging into kind of the minutia of the rules and saying, "Oh, we can actually disallow that"? Great, we're going to do that.
Yes, and they should because you know what? Had this policy gone forward, you're hurting the gas industry, the oil industry, you're hurting the automotive industry. I grew up in a town where we built cars. That was our bread and butter. That's how our town was built. And you were just ruining these industries. Also, you're making it very unaffordable for people who cannot afford EV cars. And frankly, I love Elon. And if I had a bunch of throwaway money, I'd put a Tesla in my driveway just to support him. But I don't want to drive one. I'm not a huge fan of being stuck on the side of the road because my battery's dead. I'm more of a gas powered kind of person. But that's just me. So good for the Senate and good for Lee Zeldin. So grateful to have him there at the EPA. I mean, yeah, good on them for digging into it and just telling California, like you said, to pound sand.
Yeah, Charlie actually said that back when Elon purchased Twitter and turned it into X. He was like, I love this guy so much. I don't want to drive an electric car, but I will buy a Tesla. I'm not sure if he actually ended up doing that, but that's yeah, exactly. You want to support it. Savannah, speaking of Tesla, Tesla, especially during the last administration, was the only electric car manufacturer that wasn't included in any of the president's green initiatives. They weren't acknowledged at any point, even though Tesla's the only electric car company that's actually made a dent. Considering the fact that nobody in California wants to drive a Tesla anymore because of their political wokeness ideology, how seriously are they actually taking the whole climate change thing? If the one EV manufacturer that's made any difference, we're not going to deal with them anymore.
Yeah, this has been a long-standing issue with the left wing, right? They scream and cry about climate change all day while taking private jets to their climate summits to go accept awards about how much they care about the climate. I think that the last administration's biggest failure was trying to essentially ice Elon Musk out of these EV deals. And I mean, it ended up really well for us. So shout out to the last admin for making this horrific mistake. But, it really woke up Elon Musk as well to the reality of what a certain party does think about the climate, right? Everything for some reason is always political in 2025. Also, shout out to the Senate for actually doing this. It's just baffling to me, Joe Bob, that Congress can actually get things done. That's amazing. I hope that they continue to do even more, especially in terms of these specific states that are overreaching on Americans' rights, because that's exactly what this was. So shout out to the Senate for that one. And, good on the last admin for icing out Elon, because it has led to the best possible situation for every American.
Yeah, it's fascinating how they pushed him one direction. We was like, yeah, go, come on to our side. Interestingly enough, it wasn't just conservatives too. There was a liberal senator that voted, Slotkin in Michigan, I believe, basically was saying, hey, my state manufactures a lot of cars, and I really don't want you to outlaw them in the biggest market in the country. So that was also interesting.